What's up guys, Jabril here from Neo Vintage Games, and today we got a little review discussion for you guys. Today we're going to be going over Saints Row the Third Remastered. Now this is a game that I've been messing around with for a few days, and I thought, gotten through it all, and I wanted to share my thoughts about it because I think they did a phenomenal job, and I'll get into more detail about that, but I really wanted to highlight this game because I think we need more examples of games like this. It's not the only remaster to be done this well, but I think it's one of the better ones that I personally played and have a lot of nostalgia for the original. So I'm gonna tackle this review from a couple different perspectives. One thing, how faithful is the original and how good the remaster is on it. And then the second aspect of it will be how it holds up kind of like in the modern landscape. Does this hold its own as a brand new title and a brand new release? So to start with the quality of the remaster, I think they did a fantastic job cleaning this game up. They made brand new assets for the characters themselves. The designs are faithful to the original. They're not complete redesigns, but they kind of brought it into a more modern look while retaining that art style. And that's a very hard line to really navigate, and they did a phenomenal job in that regard. The world's cleaned up amazingly, kind of the water reflection on the ground, the rain effects, the sun glare when you're driving. They did really good job kind of taking some of the advantage of current gen consoles and putting it onto a last gen game. Now a little bit of background. I am a massive Saints Row fan. I've pretty much played every single main title in the series, even kind of like the weird spin-offs like Agents of Mayhem. Wasn't really expecting too much from this title, to be honest with you. The last time this game was kind of released or ported was the Switch version, and that wasn't too great. I didn't think they did an amazing job optimizing that for the Switch platform. And so when they announced that the remaster was going to come onto current gen consoles, I was kind of middle of the road. I already had it on 360, which is backwards compatible on the One, so it's not like I haven't played this game in a really long time. I did have access to it, and I thought, okay, it's cool that people who have the PS4 could easily go back to it and play without like a PS Now or anything like that, or having to play on the PS3. So I thought it was cool from that perspective, but I didn't really expect much for this remaster other than that. And then the trailer release, I'm like, oh wow, so they're gonna actually putting a bit of effort and resources into this. And then after playing it myself, loading it into the PS4, spending maybe 30 minutes to an hour, I realized that this is effectively them taking an older game and making a current gen experience out of it. That is something that I don't think many developers do when they remaster games. Typically a light sheen, like coat of paint on it, put it on the current gen machine, maybe take it from 480p, bring it to 1080p, maybe 4K upscaling or something like that. They don't really mess with the frame rate or anything like that. But they did way more in here. Just looking at the way the cutscenes run, everything's nice and smooth. I didn't run into any real technical issues. There was a little bit of like small glitches that I bumped into in terms of like enemies clipping through the world and then weird stuff like that you'll bump into pretty much any open world game. Also, I did run into a little glitch where the map section or the radar map in the corner of the UI bugged out a little bit and they weren't showing anything there. I don't know what that was about. It did kind of remedy itself the moment I launched into a mission and went back into the open world. So it was kind of like an isolated event. I don't know if it's something worth, releasing a patch and fixing, but it is something that I bumped into and I wanted to talk about. So how it holds up, in the modern landscape, I think it holds up perfectly. If you haven't played that many open world games and you weren't familiar with the original, I think this, honestly, you could play it for the first time and you wouldn't really see too much of its age, in my opinion. I'm very familiar with the original one and the way the original one ran and the way it kind of looked, again, because I've been playing the 360 one up until very recently. And I think you really do see its age, especially with some of the texture work. There's a lot of flickering and stuff like that, and it's very much cleaned up in here. The only time that I noticed some kind of smoothness issues in terms of some of the art is when you deal with some of the Decker stuff going on to those virtual worlds. There was a little bit of strange, I don't know how to explain it, but jaggedness on some of the art assets in there. Can't tell if that was necessarily purposeful or not, but I don't remember it being that jarring in the original, and it felt like they maybe didn't clean up the assets so much. But again, it could have been a creative choice to have it that jittery because, again, they're supposed to be in some kind of online rendered world. So I'm not going to hold that against them, but it is worth mentioning. But yeah, man, they did a fantastic job, and this to me goes right up there with like the Blue Point remakes, the Uncharted port onto current gen consoles with the collection for Sony. But yeah, man, they did a fantastic job, and it makes me really, really excited to see Saints Row 5 whenever that comes. If it's called Saints Row 5, again, it could be a reboot or something like that. But I would highly recommend you get this. Amazing point is that this has an amazing price point. For only $40, you're getting a entire, $60 experience in my opinion. You get lots and lots of different missions and lots of diversity of missions. A lot of the annoying stuff from the initial game obviously is still here, and there's not much that they have to clean up there so much as it's just annoying stuff. And that I'm not really into like the helicopter missions. I'm not really into the protection missions or like the insurance fraud missions. That has never been really my cup of tea. But it is what it is. That's brought into this modern experience. Good thing is, this is a brilliant place to kind of bring it forward, because if you wanted to bring like Saints Row 2, there's so much work you'd have to do to really clean that game up, because again, that's more of akin to like a GTA San Andreas type situation, where cleaning that up just visually is not really going to cut it. There's some gameplay stuff, and from a gameplay perspective, this is my personal favorite Saints Row. 4 is already available on current gen consoles, and it's a far cry from what Saints Row traditionally means to people. They went for a different thing. Some people really like that game, some people really hate that game. I fall somewhere in the middle where like I enjoy some of the campiness and the humor in there, what Saints Row is known for. However, some of the creative choices they made in terms of the gameplay, I wasn't a big fan of them kind of essentially reskinning the world of 3. So I take a lot of issues with 4. So I think them choosing 3 to bring to current gen consoles was a brilliant idea, and I hope that this is not the end of this. A full 2 remake would be a dream come true, because if you could take the gameplay of this and mix it with the narrative of 2, that to me, perfect Saints Row game. But yeah, I would highly recommend you pick up this game. If you could find it for cheaper, I found it for cheaper on Amazon. I got it for about like $34. So well worth the money in my opinion, but if you have to pay the full $40, I don't think you're gonna regret it. If you at all enjoy GTA type games, Sleeping Dogs type games, and especially if you enjoy the original title, this one's definitely gonna kill it for you. So till next time, this is Jabrel from Neo Vintage Games. Bye.